Only 35% of adults over 80 maintain complete independence in their daily activities, yet research shows that up to 70% of age-related dependency is preventable through specific evidence-based interventions implemented consistently over time. What's particularly striking is that many adults who lose independence after 80 don't experience sudden catastrophic health events. Instead, they gradually surrender their autonomy due to preventable declines in 6 key areas of function that can be maintained and even improved well into the 9th decade of life. The difference between those who thrive independently after 80 and those who require increasing assistance isn't luck or genetics alone. It's the systematic application of specific strategies that preserve physical capability, cognitive function, social connections, financial security, home safety, and health management skills. In this video, we're going to explore the evidence-based framework that can help you maintain your independence after 80, and by the end of this video, you'll have a comprehensive action plan based on longitudinal studies of successfully aging adults who maintained their autonomy well into their 80s and 90s. Welcome to Wisdom After 70, where we provide practical, research-based strategies to help you navigate the challenges and opportunities of aging with confidence and dignity. I'm here to translate complex research on successful aging into actionable steps you can take today to preserve your independence tomorrow. Maintaining independence after 80 requires a fundamentally different approach than general health advice for younger seniors because the challenges and opportunities change significantly in this life stage. The margin for error becomes smaller, recovery from setbacks takes longer, and the consequences of functional decline become more serious. However, adults who understand and prepare for these changes can maintain remarkable levels of independence and quality of life. Over the next 15 minutes, you'll learn about the 6 pillars of independence after 80. Physical function preservation through targeted strength and balance training, cognitive health maintenance through specific mental exercises and lifestyle factors, social connection strategies that prevent isolation and maintain support networks, financial planning approaches that ensure security and flexibility, home modification and safety protocols that reduce risks and enhance functionality, and health advocacy skills that help you navigate an increasingly complex healthcare system. Each of these areas has been extensively studied in longitudinal research following adults from their 70s into their 90s, and the patterns are clear. Those who maintain independence address all 6 areas proactively rather than reactively. We'll also explore common pitfalls that can undermine independence, realistic timelines for implementing these strategies, and how to adapt these approaches as your needs change over time. This isn't about denying the realities of aging. It's about understanding how to age successfully while maintaining the autonomy that contributes so significantly to quality of life and personal dignity. The first and perhaps most critical pillar of independence after 80 is physical function preservation, specifically focusing on strength, balance, and mobility, the 3 physical capabilities that most directly impact your ability to live independently. Research from the MacArthur study of successful aging shows that adults who maintain muscle strength and balance function after 80 are 85% more likely to remain living independently compared to those who experience significant decline in these areas. What makes this particularly important is that muscle mass naturally decreases by 3 to 8% per decade after age 30, with the rate of loss accelerating after 70. However, targeted resistance training can not only halt this decline, but actually reverse it, even in adults over 80. The key is understanding that independence after 80 requires functional strength. Not bodybuilder muscle mass, but the specific strength needed for daily activities like getting up from chairs, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, and maintaining balance during routine movements. The most effective exercise protocol for maintaining independence involves compound movements that train multiple muscle groups simultaneously while mimicking real-world activities. Sit-to-stand exercises directly train the movement pattern needed for getting out of chairs, beds, and toilets. One of the first activities that becomes difficult with age-related muscle loss. The progression involves starting with assisted sit-to-stand using arm support, advancing to unassisted repetitions, and eventually adding resistance through weighted vests or dumbbells. Research shows that adults over 80 who can perform 10 unassisted sit-to-stand repetitions have significantly lower rates of falls and maintain independence longer than those who cannot complete 5 repetitions. Balance training becomes equally critical, as falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 80 and a major factor in loss of independence. However, effective balance training goes beyond simple standing exercises. Dynamic balance, the ability to maintain stability while moving, is what prevents falls during daily activities. Heel-to-toe walking, single-leg stands with progression to eyes-closed variations, and multi-directional stepping patterns train the complex coordination needed for real-world balance challenges. The optimal training frequency for maintaining independence is 3 to 4 sessions per week, with each session lasting 30 to 45 minutes and incorporating both strength and balance elements. Flexibility and mobility work, while often overlooked, are essential for maintaining the range of motion needed for daily activities like reaching overhead shelves, putting on shoes, or looking over your shoulder while driving. The key insight from successful aging research is that consistency trumps intensity. Moderate exercise performed regularly provides far greater independence benefits than sporadic high-intensity efforts that often lead to injury or burnout in older adults. The second pillar involves cognitive health maintenance, which becomes increasingly important for independence as the complexity of modern life continues to grow. Cognitive independence means maintaining the mental capabilities needed for financial management, medication adherence, decision-making, and problem-solving that daily life requires. While some cognitive decline is normal with aging, significant impairment that threatens independence is not inevitable and can often be prevented or delayed through specific interventions. The most important concept to understand is cognitive reserve, the brain's ability to maintain function despite age-related changes through the development of alternative neural pathways and enhanced efficiency. Adults with higher cognitive reserve maintain independence longer even when they experience some brain changes associated with aging. Building cognitive reserve after 80 requires engaging in activities that challenge multiple cognitive domains simultaneously. Simple crossword puzzles or Sudoku, while enjoyable, provide limited cognitive protection because they train narrow skill sets. More effective are complex activities that combine learning, memory, attention, and executive function. Learning new skills that require sustained mental effort, such as playing musical instruments, learning new languages, or mastering complex games like bridge or chess, creates the neuroplasticity that builds cognitive reserve. Research from the Advanced Cognitive Training for Independent and Vital Elderly study shows that adults over 80 who engage in challenging cognitive activities for at least 10 hours per week maintain significantly better cognitive function and independence compared to those with passive mental engagement. Technology use, when properly implemented, can provide excellent cognitive stimulation while also supporting independence through practical applications, Learning to use smartphones, tablets, or computers for communication, information access, and daily management tasks provides cognitive challenge while building skills that enhance independence. However, the learning process must be properly supported. Adults over 80 often benefit from structured technology education that proceeds at an appropriate pace, with adequate practice time. Social cognitive engagement provides particularly powerful protection for independence-threatening cognitive decline. Regular meaningful conversations, participation in discussion groups, volunteering that requires mental engagement, and collaborative activities that involve planning and problem-solving provide the complex cognitive stimulation that builds reserve while also supporting social connections that independently contribute to maintaining independence. The third pillar centers on social connection strategies that prevent the isolation and loneliness that can rapidly undermine independence after 80. Social isolation is not simply about feeling lonely. It creates measurable physiological changes that accelerate cognitive decline, increase fall risk, worsen chronic health conditions, and reduce the motivation and capability needed for self-care. Adults over 80 face unique social challenges as their peer networks shrink due to deaths, mobility limitations reduce social opportunities, and family members may be dealing with their own aging or career demands. However, research consistently shows that adults who maintain strong social connections after 80 are significantly more likely to remain independent, recover better from health setbacks, and maintain higher quality of life. The key is understanding that social connection quality matters more than quantity. A few meaningful relationships provide more independence-supporting benefits than larger networks of superficial contacts. Meaningful social connections for independence after 80 should include emotional support, practical assistance, and social engagement components. Emotional support involves having people you can confide in, who provide encouragement during difficult times, and who celebrate your successes. Practical assistance means having reliable people you can call for help with transportation, minor home repairs, or assistance during illness. Not necessarily people who provide regular care, but those available for occasional support that helps you maintain independence rather than requiring professional services. Social engagement involves regular interaction that provides stimulation, purpose, and connection to community life. The most successful strategies for maintaining independence, supporting social connections after 80, involve diversifying your social network across different types of relationships and settings. Family relationships remain important, but shouldn't be your only source of social connection, as this places excessive burden on family members and creates vulnerability if family circumstances change. Peer relationships with other adults in similar life stages provide understanding and support that family members may not be able to provide. Community connections through religious organizations, senior centers, volunteer work, or hobby groups create broader social integration that supports independence through multiple pathways. Technology-mediated connections can supplement but not replace in-person social interaction for maintaining independence. Video calls with distant family members, online interest groups, or social media connections can provide valuable social stimulation, but research shows that adults over 80 who rely primarily on virtual social connections are more likely to experience the isolation that threatens independence compared to those who maintain regular in-person social contact. The fourth pillar involves financial planning and management strategies that ensure the economic security and flexibility needed to maintain independence after 80. Financial challenges are among the leading causes of loss of independence in older adults, not just because of inadequate resources, but because of the complexity of financial management that can become overwhelming with age-related cognitive changes or health challenges. The key to financial independence after 80 is creating systems that are both robust enough to provide security and simple enough to manage effectively as capabilities change. This involves addressing both the adequacy of financial resources and the management systems needed to access and control those resources. Healthcare costs represent the largest and most unpredictable expense for adults over 80, with long-term care costs potentially consuming lifetime savings rapidly. The median cost of nursing home care exceeds $100,000 annually in many areas, meaning that even well-prepared individuals can exhaust resources quickly if they require institutional care. However, proper planning can often prevent or delay the need for costly institutional care, while ensuring resources are available when needed. Long-term care insurance, while expensive, can provide crucial protection for independence by ensuring that care needs can be met at home or in community settings rather than forcing premature institutionalization due to financial constraints. For those who cannot afford or qualify for long-term care insurance, other strategies include maximizing home equity through reverse mortgages or home equity lines of credit that can fund in-home care, investigating veterans' benefits for qualifying individuals, and understanding Medicaid planning strategies that can protect some assets while qualifying for benefits. Simplifying financial management becomes increasingly important after 80, as cognitive demands of complex financial systems can become overwhelming. This involves consolidating accounts when possible, setting up automatic payments for routine expenses, and creating clear documentation of account information and procedures that trusted individuals can access if needed. However, simplification must be balanced with maintaining control and oversight to prevent financial exploitation, which becomes more common and devastating as people age. The most effective approach involves creating financial management systems that provide appropriate oversight and backup while maintaining personal control and decision-making authority. The fifth pillar focuses on home modification and safety protocols that reduce risks while enhancing functionality, allowing you to age in place safely rather than requiring institutional care due to preventable hazards or functional limitations. The home environment becomes increasingly important for independence after 80 because adults spend more time at home. Physical capabilities may make navigation more challenging, and the consequences of home-related injuries become more serious. However, strategic home modifications can dramatically improve safety and functionality while being far less expensive than alternative housing arrangements. The most effective home modifications address the specific hazards and functional limitations that most commonly threaten independence in adults over 80. Fall hazards represent the greatest threat to home-based independence, with most falls occurring during routine activities in familiar environments rather than during obviously risky situations. Bathroom modifications provide the highest return on investment for independence preservation because bathrooms combine multiple fall risks: wet surfaces, hard fixtures, and activities that require balance and mobility. Installing grab bars near toilets and in showers, using non-slip surfaces in tubs and showers, ensuring adequate lighting that eliminates shadows, and considering walk-in showers or tubs can dramatically reduce fall risk while making daily hygiene activities easier and more comfortable. Stair safety modifications become critical for multi-level homes, as stairs represent major fall hazards while being necessary for accessing different areas of the home. Handrails on both sides of staircases, adequate lighting with switches at both top and bottom, non-slip treads, and contrasting colors to clearly define step edges can maintain stair safety while preserving access to all areas of the home. For those with increasing difficulty with stairs, stair lifts can provide safe access while being significantly less expensive than moving to single-level housing. Kitchen modifications can maintain cooking independence while reducing safety risks. Lever-style handles that are easier to operate with limited hand strength, pull-out drawers that reduce bending and reaching, adequate task lighting, and organization systems that keep frequently used items easily accessible can preserve cooking capabilities that are essential for nutritional independence. Smart home technology increasingly provides options for maintaining independence through automation and monitoring systems that can detect problems and summon help when needed while preserving privacy and autonomy in daily life. The sixth and final pillar involves developing health advocacy skills that help you navigate an increasingly complex healthcare system while maintaining control over your medical care and treatment decisions. Healthcare management becomes more complex after 80 as multiple chronic conditions often require coordination between various specialists, medication regimens become more complicated, and the healthcare system itself can be difficult to navigate effectively. However, adults who develop strong health advocacy skills maintain better health outcomes and preserve independence longer by ensuring they receive appropriate care while avoiding unnecessary treatments or interventions that can actually threaten independence. Effective health advocacy after 80 begins with organization and documentation systems that help you manage complex medical information and communicate effectively with healthcare providers. This involves maintaining current medication lists with dosages and prescribing physicians, keeping records of medical conditions and treatments, documenting symptoms or concerns between appointments, and preparing questions before medical visits to ensure important issues are addressed. Many adults over 80 benefit from keeping health journals that track symptoms, medication effects, and functional changes over time, as this information can be crucial for healthcare providers in making treatment decisions. Understanding your rights and options within the healthcare system becomes increasingly important as medical complexity increases. This includes understanding insurance benefits and limitations, knowing how to appeal denied claims or treatments, understanding the role of different healthcare providers and when referrals might be appropriate, and knowing how to access second opinions when treatment decisions are complex or uncertain. Advanced care planning becomes essential for maintaining autonomy in healthcare decisions, involving not just completing advanced directives and healthcare proxy designations, but having detailed conversations with healthcare proxies about your values, preferences, and goals for medical care. The most effective approach involves regular updates to advance care planning as health status and preferences change, ensuring that healthcare proxies understand not just what treatments you would or wouldn't want, but the underlying values and goals that should guide decision-making in situations that weren't specifically anticipated. Integration and implementation of these 6 pillars requires a systematic approach that recognizes the interconnections between different areas while being realistic about the time and energy needed to address each effectively. The adults who maintain independence most successfully after 80 are those who begin implementing these strategies in their 70s or earlier, allowing time to develop the habits, systems, and capabilities that support independence before they become critically necessary. However, it's never too late to begin. Even adults already in their 80s can implement many of these strategies to preserve or regain independence in specific areas. The key is prioritization based on your current situation and greatest areas of vulnerability. Begin by honestly assessing your current status in each of the 6 pillars, identifying areas where you're already strong and areas that need attention. Focus initial efforts on areas where small changes can provide significant benefits. If you found this information valuable, please subscribe to Wisdom After 70 for more evidence-based guidance on successful aging. And let us know in the comments which of these 6 pillars you feel is most important for your own independence goals. Thank you for watching, and here's to your continued independence and quality of life in the years ahead.